Today I'm going to teach you about end punctuation. So there are three types of end punctuation. We have periods, question marks, and exclamation marks. Three very different types, and we have rules that go along with them. When we are making a statement, we use a period at the end of that sentence. And as always, with any sentence, we always begin with a capital letter. So we ate tacos for lunch. That's a statement. It's a fact. It's what happened. We end it with a period. We also can ask a question. So we would use a question mark. Who, what, where, when, why are question words. And so this one starts with what? With a capital W at the beginning because it's the beginning of a sentence. So what time does school start? Ending with a question mark. We use an exclamation when we are saying something with strong emotion. We have two examples here that are said with two different strong emotions, but both end with exclamation marks. So, I love writing! Exclamation. Strong emotion, excitement, strong feelings of love. So, exclamation at the end, and the I is by itself, and it gets capitalized. It's also at the beginning, so it gets capitalized. Here we have a statement that is said by a brother, and it has quotations around it, which means it's exactly the words that came out of his mouth. And he says, "Stop!" my brother yelled. So stop has a capital letter. It's the first word of the sentence. Those quotations go around what he said. And the exclamation goes at the end of stop because he said it with strong emotion. On the next page, we're going to go over a few more rules about punctuation. This time it's about commas. Commas are not end punctuation, but they are still considered punctuation. So we use a comma to separate three or more items in a series or in a list. So we use a comma between two adjectives only when the word and would be inserted in its place. We use a comma before and after a word or a phrase that renames the noun. We use a comma, oops, I just said that. Use a comma when a sentence begins with an introductory word or phrase such as well, yes, therefore, for example, or on the other hand. Those are transition words. Use a comma between a city and state and after the state if the sentence continues. Use a comma to separate the day of the month from the year and after the year. Use a comma when a sentence begins with a prepositional phrase, adverbial clause, or dependent clause. Use a comma to interrupt direct quotations or before after a direct quotation. We'll get more into quotation later along with these clauses, but a couple examples that we have here. We have, would you like curly, crispy, or crinkle cut French fries? So these are describing words, and they're describing the French fries. So I know those are adjectives. So that's B up here. We're using adjectives, two or more. Let's be friends, Sally said to the new kid in her class. Well, I know these are quotation marks, and there's my comma. So down here, use a comma to interrupt direct quotations before and after a direct quotation. So that is E. Someday I'd like to visit Buffalo, New York. Well, Buffalo and New York are both capitalized because they are proper nouns. And I know both of these are locations because that's where I'm from, New York. So I know this is a city and state, and so city and state is up here for E. 4 is a date. March 13th, 2013 will always be my favorite day of history. So it talks about day of the month, F, day, there's the day, and there's